No, I don't. Hello, welcome back to what? Yeah, welcome back to what? That's the best way to put it, actually, because we don't have a name. We don't have a name for this. We just don't. We just don't. Maybe we don't have to. Maybe we could just be like, maybe it's not welcome back. Maybe it's like, welcome to us doing this or whatever.
Discussion time. With
Yeah, sure.
And
come join your friends. We'll
discussion time when we do things and talk and make points that aren't real and
points aren't real and you're not real
and
we're not real.
Upset people.
Yo, I've been having some wild fucking dreams recently.
So we're here to talk about Scout.
With friends.
We've dissected all the other dwarves, all the other little short
Dissected them.
Yeah, and we've ended up with the one that we delayed the longest because we really put this off for a while.
It's only because it's only because it got close enough to season 4 where it was like, oh, maybe not. That's kind of the best way to put it. But then it's like when we first got the very first season 4 patch notes, right at the launch of Experimental, there was like, in that specifically, it was only the Sabata. That was the only thing that changed. And I don't even remember thinking about this video being like, oh, we could have easily done it because it's like nothing changed. Obviously, that wasn't the case. Not that there's a huge amount that changed, but there were some significant changes, certainly. At least one quite significant change. And just overall, it's better that we're doing this now anyway, because otherwise we would have done it, and then very shortly after we would have amended it. This is basically like bypassing that. So there will be another video where we basically go through the previously made spreadsheets, as it were, on everything else and amend them according to what changed in season 4. Thankfully, though, that won't have to include Scout at all because it's all going to be done here. This will include everything about Scout that was changed in season 4 because it's just the way it is now. I love it. Maybe we should refresh though the rating system. Maybe.
Yeah.
Because it has been some time
of every character anyway, let alone after it's been like 2 months since the last one.
Yeah, maybe it should have settled in by now. I don't know. It's been so long. So we rate every single upgrade and overclock on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being unusable and 5 being too strong, and I think that's still not bad. And also we have 2 as being suboptimal, 4 being optimal, and 3 just being balanced. And basic principle is the only things that truly, like, obviously in an ideal world, everything would actually be, in my opinion, everything would actually be 3 and 4s, as in I think 4s can exist in the game and still be healthy. 2s should be ideally eliminated, and 1s and 5s though represent basically priorities, because this is a resource.
Because everything should be viable, and some things should be kind of a bit stronger sometimes, just so it's.
Yeah.
Well, I think
thanks,
sometimes
Tom.
stronger due to meta in like the bugs. As they introduce new enemies, the meta shifts on what's the best sort of stuff, and so that's what makes some things 4. Some things 3s.
Yeah. I think obviously most of it is pretty
over time,
objective.
and flamethrowers gotten better.
Yeah, but we're looking at today is gonna, or not today actually. The next part on Scout is gonna have a very good example of something that would have gotten a hard 1 before and has now been completely amended. Obviously, that's not this time, not the primaries, I would say, but
we could throw it in.
Yeah.
Actually, we can't. I don't have that stuff. Like, well, you can. You know what it is. You know what it is.
Yeah.
There's an introduction to it. Yeah, clearly just literally shit. Like there was a mod that did the same thing but better.
Yeah, it was literally
just
that you direct downgrade.
Jesus Christ!
Like a 0.5 second decrease in time. And then you could also then have an actual overclock that did something.
Sorry, you just can't stop overlapping each other. It's insane. You just can't.
Well, yeah, and that was such an obvious one, and they amended it. to making it whatever it's going to be ranked in the next video. But I think it's a pretty good example of a 1, and I'm not sure what a 5 would be on Scout. I think we're going to have to find out.
Yeah, it could happen. I don't have any in mind. What?
Yeah.
Overclocks or mods?
Just generally. Yeah. I mean, for the primaries, I'm not sure there is something inherently that.
No.
There is someone I would want to tackle, but I think we should start. So then we can. I think is probably a good shout.
Start with the GK2, aka the good killer.
Who?
Who actually received. So thank God we didn't do this before season 3, because my goodness, did this man have a good time in season 3, or rather, shall I say, he got an ultimate facelift into just a really fucking incredible weapon. Like maybe the most A tier weapon in the game. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think any point it's overwhelming at anything, but it used to be overall worse than everything else generally, and it's just a bad pick. Then they just bolstered all of its levels by like a tier.
Scout in general, just making him better, because he was at the start just significantly worse than all the others, but now he really has got new stuff that really makes him.
So it hasn't been purely due to Gen 3. But that still marked the start of Scout becoming better, though. There were other changes outside of the Gen 3 weapons, but that still marked the Drac being introduced marked Scout's journey to becoming a legend of death. Yeah. Not really, but still. Okay, so if we want to jump into it, we got tier 1. Oh my god, I didn't realize it was ×0 base spread. So we got big old accuracy, we got +1 rate of fire, and that reload time. And I'm going to immediately jump and say I think accuracy and rate of fire here are probably very equal. Maybe reload speed is slightly below, though. Maybe.
Is it? It's not. Is it 0% always? I thought it was like the
reload speed is that needed. I mean, I always run Born Ready on Scout, so you can just swap all the time.
That's weird. That's like the one.
Worry about reloading.
I do not do that. But okay, so Tyler, to explain, base spread. I think that's basically just one from when it returns to base spread. So it's like, I don't know how to explain that, but yeah, I think that's. I don't know.
No, base spread is the
flare.
It's base spread is the accuracy.
So yeah, it does actually have 0 base spread.
How much it moves out from when you fire. When you fire, the accuracy gets worse. And it's how much.
Yes. Which is odd when you have this, which increases spread recovery speed. Whatever.
I know, base spread must be the circle size then in the first place, right?
Yeah, it's the the reticle, whatever the thing. It normally flares out, but I think this prevents it. Maybe. I thought it only had only like a delay, like the first couple don't, but it might just be permanently.
No, I do think it is that actually. Whatever.
I think the fire rate is kind of the shout on there, really. Like, I don't think the reload's bad at all. I think all of them are fairly equal, right? Like, ultimately, I don't think it affects much.
But the thing is, the GK2 has a very, very good reload time, and also is actually just generally more accurate now. Anyway, it's almost like it's actually reasonably accurate, even with overclock firing mechanism.
Stability engine,
which
is one of the best ones. You don't need it. If anything, fire rate's more optimal for that, because fire rate doesn't mean shit when you've got no recoil. It just means you do more damage.
I think it might be a bit of a 3-4-3. Generally, I think you can't really go wrong with the fire rate, but you still got to admit that the recoil and the reload is fair.
On it. And that's they're very, very balanced, very basic, but that's exactly what you want, really.
There's not much
until it gets to the higher tier
mods.
Mods is when you want the spice. And they are basic, they do the job, they matter.
Alright, well, it's not the kind of thing I want to spend too much time on.
Just move on, that's good.
Tier 2, +3 direct damage, +120 max ammo. Now, I feel like it's something that's sort of come out of these types of reworks, where usually you get the situation where ammo is no longer that important. But I still think it's probably the best choice here, actually, especially considering how much like fire rate you can get. It feels good to just focus on DPS by having big fire rate and big ammo rather than going for damage. I kind of prefer that, honestly. So I don't know how much I value the damage.
Though, but that's always been your thing. I know you said you're like kind of stepping away from it, but it is a fact that with the GK, you kind of have to kill the enemies first, or you'll. I mean, I know you don't really matter if you get overwhelmed because you'll run away, but you still kind of should kill them quickly if you want to hold your ground. It's a ground worth holding, and that damage is good at that. Like you do actually, that is a pretty large uptick in damage. I mean, it's 3 damage per shot. Like
it goes from 19 per shot, which is actually a lot. But you look at the total. I know total damage isn't always that important, but the GK2 is one of the ones where I do run out of ammo significantly quicker when I don't take an ammo mod. When I say that the total damage isn't important, it's usually because the weapon's so strong that the fact that you don't have an ammo mod isn't important because you're probably going to get everything done without losing much ammo anyway. But I think you do use up a lot of ammo if you take damage, especially because it relies on accuracy so much to get the most out of it, where those shots that aren't hitting weak points are much more wasted when you don't have extra ammo as well. But I don't know how hard I'm going to follow this. I think the damage is still definitely a 3, so it just depends on what we think the ammo is. Really?
Well, yeah. I mean, probably a 4. It's the ammo upgrade, really, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably still a bit too much, really, isn't it?
Often has a problem with ammo. It's very nice, but I don't know. It could be a 3 or 4 again. I don't know which one.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking. Let's think about it in terms of like the different types of builds. It's just like I don't know which one is the most beneficial. I'd say there's only really one overclock where it's actually definitive. If I'm being honest, but all the others it's sort of mixed, and the one where it's definitive though, it's definitively ammo that you should take, not damage. I don't know if that means much at all.
That's with electrifying reload.
Yeah,
right?
That is electrifying reload, where it's like
feels a bit cheap, does it not? Like, because even then, I mean, it's so ammo efficient that you arguably don't really need the ammo. Right.
Exactly, but that's the thing. But that sort of speaks to the mod itself, possibly just being slightly excess. I think you could actually. I think you could shave.
Ammo is always good on all of the builds.
Yes, I think you could shave a magazine off of that and it'd be fine.
The damage is like not necessarily needed as much as ammo on every build.
Yeah,
it's good on some builds, but not all like ammo is. And it's a good amount of ammo, and it's on scout. It has to be 4, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think you could bring it down to plus 90, and it would be fine still. Fine choice.
But I don't think they should do that. It's where it is.
Shut up. Tier 3, we got floating barrel, which is just reduced recoil and max bloom, or increased magazine size, which is fine. But I feel like recoil's pretty easy pick over it. Right?
Other than with AO stability.
Oh, other than that, sure. Yeah, definitely.
So it's just that it's completely not needed on one build, which is quite an essential build.
Yeah.
I actually have like magazine size on like all of my GK.
Okay, I've actually got to say, magazine size has actually become a little bit more valuable because I think you can get
very, very nice.
Much closer to like killing certain things in one clip than you used to be able to before. Yeah. I don't know if you can one clip a Praetorian still. Maybe you can. Okay, maybe it's better than I think because especially because the GK2 just feels better in general now, where maybe having more damage in one clip could actually be more valuable than just making it handle better, considering it handles very well by default now. So maybe
I've never had any problem with the recoil, even with the the mod that the overclock that makes it increased recoil.
So it sounds like you both value magazine size a bit more, actually.
Yeah.
So we could go for 3 and 3, unless you would argue for one to be maybe even for magazine size to be higher.
I think 3 and 3 because I think the recoil one. If you don't have an issue with the recoil, there's no reason to pick it. So the other one's essentially a given, right? But if you struggle with it, it's a bit of a balance either way. And if you need that thing to be able to use the GK, then it's almost essential. It's a bit of a skill mod, if you get what I mean. Like,
yeah, you probably don't need either.
If you can deal with the recoil, you gain mag size. That's essentially what that tier is, right? Obviously, the super fast shooting one adds a lot of recoil that even if you can deal with it normally, you need a little stabilizer or something. But I don't know. It's a 3-3, I think.
Yeah. But my dumb little animal OCD brain's like, why don't we have any 2s yet? I want it to be 2s, equal distribution. No, it's a good weapon. It's a good weapon.
Yeah, I think they ironed out a lot, if not all of the 2s. At least in the mods, they really tinkered with mods.
Balanced weapons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
It's not the best weapon, but it's one of the best balanced for sure.
Yeah.
Tier 4. Okay, we got that one and that one. Oh, that's a big number, isn't it?
Can't see that. Todd.
Yeah, so we got Can he really not? Oh no, of course he can't. Sorry. You got hollow point bullets.
Right now.
Yeah, you can look at it. So we got plus 20% weak point bonus.
Is a 5.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It just isn't.
Yes, it is.
Shut up.
Yes, it is.
No, sorry, Thomas. Another actually fairly surprisingly equal one. You can take hardened rounds on a lot of different builds, and it's just very, very valuable. You know, I don't. It's hard to get into the specifics of why, but
5-to-1 ratio, 5 weak point, 1 armor breaking.
All right, we give weak point of 4. I think that's pretty simple. But this is a very decent armor breaking mod.
It works ultimately. You got to give it that. You know.
Of course it works. And it just feels good in general for like high damage ones that aren't like necessarily weak point focused, like DPS builds that use OFM or homebrew powder. And electric reload is like perfect for that as well. I think it's a perfectly balanced one. So if you truly think weak points above it, we can give it a 4. But arm breaking is. I mean, I don't think you were going to fight me on giving arm breaking a 3 though. You weren't going to argue for arm breaking to be low, were you? So
No, it's just whenever.
When you again, I'm going to keep saying AO stability, but when you pair it with that, it's even more weak point damage, and it means that you can clip a Praetorian when you do that.
It is just kind of like, why shoot the armor when you could just destroy the weak point? It gives that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just that the armor breaking is there if it's a situation where you don't really have a choice.
Why would you be armor breaking with Scout anyway? Like,
well, no, it's just when your body shot.
The whole thing is hitting weak points.
But the GK2 isn't inherently a weak point weapon anymore. They removed the inherent bonus. It's just a rifle. And just speccing it for DPS that's good to get at shooting any part of the body is a perfectly valid way to use it now. So, I mean, look, I don't know why we're doing this. I think I'm just gonna put my foot down. We give weak point a 4, which you should be fine with anyway, and we give arm breaking a 3.
That was weak points higher. I wish it was 5, but you guys think less of it.
It's not, but it's not a problem in that way though.
Out at 4.
It's not a problem. That's a 5 would be problematic, and I don't think it is, even if it's really good.
Think that mod is OP as hell, and is an issue. Thomas.
It's not, because it's a fairly modest. It's good, but it's not an insane bonus either. It's just good. So yeah, exactly. Realistically, Tom, you don't realize it. You do also think it's a 4. You do, kind of. All right, cool. Okay. Tier 5, which is a weird one. I think it's the fire rate that got added, isn't it? It used to I think it used to be Battle Frenzy was 2 separate things.
Yeah. Combined.
And then they got put into 1, and this got added as well. Does that make Battle Frenzy like higher? Because we've got Battle Frenzy, you, after killing an enemy, gain movement speed and accuracy, pretty significant on both sides. Or you get +2 rate of fire, which is very noticeable. Or just increased stun. Increased stun chance, I should say, not duration. So
what's the inherent stun chance? 15 puts it up to 50.
Yeah, it is noticeable actually, especially when you're fighting things like Mactera that you want to interrupt.
With stun, because of the boomerangs, if I need to stun something, I use that. But but ignoring my preferences, that is an incredibly good mod.
Yeah,
because the amount that it changes it, like as a mod, that raises it by a lot. That's like 35% increase.
It's actually it's really interesting, like tier 5s, in that they're all just kind of make the gun better to use generally, right? Like they're not inherently interesting tier 5s that change certain parts of the gun. It's just literally like as you're shooting stuff, you occasionally get boosts in
I do think Battle Frenzy is cool though. It's not like insane, but I do like basically getting buffs for killing things is just a cool thing. And
Really
the fact that one of that is movement speed,
dealing with
yeah.
enemies, because then you can then just be like walking backwards, walking back, killing. Means you're constantly staying ahead of the horde, and as a scout, you're often training the enemies instead of that's how you stay ahead of them. You constantly train them. You walk backwards while shooting them.
Or you would with stun, you would basically crowd control them, so you don't have to back up as far because the one that's furthest at the front constantly gets stunned. Or you rate of fire and you just kill them before that even becomes an issue.
Yes, hold on. I do think this rate of fire might be a bit overkill because they buffed it in a way that the GK2's base rate of fire is very appreciable, and I would say you could really take the one in tier 1 without any worries.
Probably isn't as it's a 3. I think the rate of fire, the others are 4s.
Oh, actually, that might be a good way to put it. Actually, I was thinking 3, 2, 3, but. Yeah,
because the other two are really, really good, always useful. But that rate of fire, there's other mods for rate of fire. There's overclocks for rate of fire, and the rate of fire is already pretty good. Like, it's hard to justify picking rate of fire over the other two that are so good when you've got so many other options for rate of fire.
But
you don't need that high rate of fire, do you?
Exactly. But the reason we're giving it a 3 still is because it's still good, and even if you like really doubling down, even though it's overkill, is still a good idea. So I think 4, 3, 4 might be good. I don't know how I feel about that though.
Tyler, I think Battle Frenzy's a 4. It's nice. It's nice. It's not strong.
No, it is really good.
It's not that kind of thing though. You know, both of these are damage kind of or direct combat stuff. But Battle Frenzy's a bit more not theoretical, but it's a bit more support based, supporting you, but not like direct combat benefit.
To just have that, like, quickly get a kill and just disappear off.
Yeah, but you have a grappling hook.
It's not that insane.
Yeah,
it's really
which is sometimes on recharge, and sometimes I want to save my grappling hook for the times when it's actually really, really, really needed.
Maybe, but Battle Frenzy is like literally for when you're in a Battle Frenzy, when you forget that you have anything else, and you're just completely just.
And it means you can still, because when you're using the grappling hook, you're just running away. But Battle Frenzy means you can be killing things while you're having that movement.
It's for backing up, isn't it? Really, so you can back up faster.
But also you can run like around them as well. Like, it's not just backing up. Like, when you sprint with Battle Frenzy, you are mega quick.
You can literally just bad.
You can just be shooting and then quickly just turn to the left, sprint for like 2 seconds and jump, get a bit of a boost, because obviously when you jump, you keep the momentum from the Battle Frenzy. And then you can actually gain a lot of distance, and then just quickly turn around and start shooting again, kill a couple, and keep doing that. You're constantly on the move, getting a lot of kills.
But ultimately, I don't think
alive. And then if you suddenly end up feeling that you're overwhelmed, grapple away.
So, okay, I think I'm actually more on Tyler's side, but what about the stun then? Do you think that's above the other two definitively? Or?
I do, yeah. I think it's just a 50% stun is just incredibly good. It's only on weak point, but it's still with the GK weak points.
The stunning is great and all, but like, if you want to stun something, that's what the boomerangs are for, in my opinion.
Well,
I don't have the desire to be stunning things that often, and when I do, I have a boomerang.
You have
stun
hold
more
on, sorry, stop. You have more malleability in your weapons though, and I'd say to have to completely rely on your grenade to stun is not, as in that's like, if you want to stun, the only way you're going to do it is through the boomerangs is just a bit strange. When I don't know. Okay, maybe we should look at which ones we use the most or something, because I don't think I use stun at all. Actually, that's the thing.
I use stun on AI stability. I use stun with electrifying reload.
I've actually got 2 stuns for rate of fire. I don't have any Battle Frenzy.
4 stuns, 2 Battle Frenzies, but I did just change one to a fire rate because I felt bad for fire rate.
I use stun with electric reload. What the fuck? Twice. What the fuck is that?
You might as well just hold them in their damn place. You know.
I guess so.
Yeah, I use stun the most of the lot.
Frenzy the most. I use stun occasionally.
All right, they're all equal. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Fine. That's good. And I think I
wouldn't say they're all equal, considering I think we all don't use fire rate. So
no, I use 4 fire rates. 4 of mine are fire rate.
What?
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
to change your builds, Harry.
No, I
Yeah,
don't.
you need to sort your fucking guns out.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Well,
Having
two of them
fire
are
rate.
just fire rate, so they're like, you know, they're just mistakes. As in, two of them are literally exactly the same build. One of those is actually the air stability engine, which I think is valid, right? That's valid.
No,
Yes, of course it is.
no, stun and AO stability. You're shooting the weak point, you might as well keep it still. Plus, just shooting the weak points, you might as well get a stun.
It doesn't
right?
actually keep everything still though, especially the most like beefy targets.
Yeah, but it keeps them more still than if they're doing stuff.
Shut up.
Again, the boomerangs. I mean, I know you're saying that it's annoying to have limited amounts of them, but also, so like my main build, because I only normally use like one or two, but my favourite one, AI stability, all like hollow point everything for pure damage, and then you boomerang like say Praetorian or a horde or whatever, and the boomerang electrifies them, stuns them, keeps them stationary, so you can hit the weak points easily. But also you do more damage to electrified targets, which the stun you don't do more damage to stun targets, do you?
No.
What do you?
No.
You don't do more damage to electrified targets. What?
Yeah, GK just does more damage to them.
No, it does. Wow. Okay, that's interesting because it doesn't. I don't know where you got that from. I don't know where you got.
Well, and it's just the electrified bit doing the damage anyway. But it means that all of those shit combined means I clip Praetorians, and they're stationary, taking electric damage, everything, all combined.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know how we can. From all of this, it makes the most sense to me to just not have any differences. Although it sounds like someone believes that fire rate should be lower down.
Yeah, fire rate is not as good. There's not much point in it, really.
Okay, so to try and finalize this, so is that a 3-2-3 or a 4-3-4?
Honestly, I think we are all fighting for like each of them, right? Like Harry, you think fire rate's good, Tom, you think battle frenzy is good, and I think the stuns.
No, because I was
good.
the first
we all
person
think those
to.
ones are
Yeah,
a step above
I was
the others.
No, I don't. I was the first person to criticize the fire rate as being overkill. I just still think it's good.
Right.
So we can absolutely have the fire rate be lower down.
I would just say 3-3-3 really at that point, right? They're all pretty alright at what they do. And they're all useful at what they do. They all probably could be stronger inherently, but they could be weaker.
Yeah, okay, good.
Oh,
If you
fuck, my game's bugged. God damn it, man.
whatever, man, whatever. All right,
Oh,
done.
God, I hate this game.
All right.
Wow. Overclocks. All right, let's get these idiots out of the way first. Compact ammo. Who the fuck is using compact ammo?
Me.
Are you?
Yeah, on my ammo build because it's the best thing you can get overclock wise. Ain't good. I don't like that build.
Yeah. So okay,
not terrible.
These first two cleans could easily change because I don't know how we're going to really rank the rest of them after that point. But for now, this is probably one of the more suboptimal just compared to what you can do. It's just not worth thinking about because this is the kind of thing. Gas routing might be different, but this is the kind of thing that you just do not need for the GK2 at this point. It's just additional convenience to a gun that has no real like convenience issues, in my opinion. In that sense, it just handles too well to need something like this. In general,
well, I would argue kind of the same thing for gas rerouting.
Probably.
I don't think that's particularly.
The only reason gas rerouting is okay is because it's a more modest version of overclock firing mechanism, but the penalties of overclock firing mechanism are very, very easy to ignore or even eliminate if you like. So,
and I think if you wanted a clean EK2, you would pick homebrew powder. I think because it's just better damage, right? Like,
yeah, I think gas rerouting could feel it does actually feel quite nice. I'm tempted to give it 3, but I'm not going to ride or die with that opinion. Thomas, help. Hello.
There is no universe where he's used these.
No. The GK suits cleans. Got gas rerouting.
He doesn't have anything to say.
Uh,
I think, well, yeah, maybe compact ammo is a 2 for sure.
yeah, absolutely.
Maybe gas rerouting and homebrew powder is probably a 3. Maybe.
Both of those, yeah.
They're just, they make the gun better
Yes,
in one way,
okay.
cleanly.
Homebrew powder is quite good, especially on a weapon that is better, much just stronger than it used to be. Homebrew powder is also noticeable, but it's obviously just. I understand the want to be more specialized in general. Like the GK2 as such a good weapon by default begs it to be more specialized. So I understand why homebrew powder isn't popular, but it's definitely good. So we're giving that a 3 as well. Which brings us to overclocked firing mechanism, which is obviously we talked about how its rate of fire is good now, but goddamn, you feel how fucking fast this is. Jesus Christ!
I run out
like a minigun
instantly. Ammo gone within the first 5 minutes of every mission I use it in. It is evil how quick it shoots. But to be honest with you, I don't feel like I do much more with the fire rate. It really does just feel like my ammo's gone and I didn't get much from it.
I think it's fairly balanced. I think this might actually be one of the ones that used to be stronger, maybe, to be honest. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think it's definitely not bad though. I understand what you're saying, but that also kind of like just objectively speaking shouldn't be true because it doesn't make you weaker. It just makes you shoot faster. That's maybe just you getting carried away. But either way, it's just a shitload of DPS, really. But at the same time, it's not quite in the situation where you have so much ammo that you're not going to notice it. It's very difficult to navigate, but I do think it might be easy to just lock it in, because I would give it a 3, is what I'm saying.
I would also argue that, you don't really want DPS from your primary of Scout, since all of his secondaries are essentially, that's like all they're allowed to do. You can't really pull sustained fire from your secondaries. It's burst DPS.
Yes. Okay,
you don't really want both doing burst.
Right, okay, I didn't know what you meant there. So you don't actually want it to be that quick. It doesn't actually make much sense for a Scout primary to just be something that you unload instantaneously.
If you need to do so much damage in a short amount of time, you shouldn't be using your GK2 really quickly. You should be switching to your secondary and either spraying down with a Zukov, just boomsticking, or like a whatever crossbow does. Whatever your crossbow is up to.
But if you're honestly, I consider this almost a clean, because it's for people who just want to use, basically not take any of the fire rate mods, basically. So you can just take this. Yeah. I think it's a completely valid pick still, but it doesn't. No, I don't think it has any major problems. I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't bring it below 3, certainly.
No, but I think it could do with something more to it, I would say.
What could you really do to it, though?
No.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right.
2 or 3.
What?
Allow 3.
Sorry, what?
Allow it, Harry.
Can't hit. What the fuck are you saying?
I can't. What? Moving on.
Yeah. Yes, moving on, that's right. Bullets of Mercy. Bullets of Mercy should be like a 5, Like, it just sounds like it should be. But it definitely isn't. Definitely not a 5.
During season 3, didn't it?
It got buffed and nerfed at the same time. It got its penalty was increased. Like you go down to below 20 per magazine. You feel that, but it's also just like it's still not actually making you weaker, aside from losing some magazine size. Like, that can't be that insane compared to the fact that you get plus 50% damage against a lot of common status effects that you yourself can also inflict. Even the weapon itself can inflict one of them. I honestly, weirdly enough, I don't feel like using it much at all, but it's objectively great, really, if we're being honest. It just is.
Yeah.
So
I would not say even like 4. It's not the build on the GK though, really, is it?
But I don't think there is one anymore. Like one.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, you think there is, but you're wrong.
No, I know there is.
All right.
Sorry, but moving on. AI stability.
Hold on, no. We didn't give it a rating, like because
Yeah,
but it's.
I think it's a 3. I
But
think
it's the same as these idiots, these chumps.
Yeah, ultimately, I think it's balanced.
Weirdly enough, it actually is, and but that's purely feelings, though, right? Because it's like you just look at it, it's just like
always
what?
purely feelings.
No,
but you look at it and you're using like I don't know, inbuilt logic, right? You're using sandbox room logic damage. It's not that case though. Like it is easy to imbue a lot of enemies with that status effect, but it isn't inherently always a given, right? It's not always a 50% damage boost. Even if you have something that does those things, like
okay,
a lot of things, it's still not a given.
Capabilities, that capability is quite often the case, and the downside isn't that bad.
Yeah, it is still strong, bearable. Not strong for free. You have to use other resources to make it do its thing.
No, you don't though. You don't know because
it does also have that insane ability when there's a driller, say, on the team, who can apply status effects to enemies instantly and easily.
I'll
sort of go-to combo often when I was playing with
Harry. Your argument is not valid.
You can literally stun with the GK2 itself.
You shoot to them first, doing less damage.
Not even inherently, if you use other means to like inflict something.
Yeah, you don't really want to be using it.
Still, you would have just used another resource, Harry. Either you pay the price, do less damage, get that stun, which could take a while, even with the upgrade, or you use another resource.
The gun itself. You want to use another resource for it, because otherwise you're then wasting
resources are
more
reliable.
Yeah.
Like obviously, like Boomerang's good and all, but really it's stationary one. IFG. I think IFG is probably the best thing for it, because you can electrify a horde. Plus, you gain another damage boost involved. You really reap the rewards with an IFG. But ultimately, you have to use an IFG, and that makes it balanced.
All right. No. I actually get it. Obviously, that is obvious, but it's almost so obvious I didn't quite think about it. And I was going to be like, you're not always hitting weak points, though, but it's like, AI Stability Engine is more inherently reliable. Because
you would still be aiming for weak points even with this.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. I think it's weird, but 3's okay.
I think I mean, maybe, but I would put AI Stability
really good,
5,
because
I think AI Stability is just better than this.
Yeah, I think so too.
Speaking of which,
but that doesn't mean that they're in different ranks. They're just at different ends of the ranking.
But I don't know. I think
so good that they shouldn't really be put in different categories. I think they're close, but like AI Stability is great and all, but I do genuinely think that Bullets of Mercy has potential for a whole lot as well. But it's just a bit more awkward to use, and that doesn't make it worse necessarily, because the payout for using it correctly.
But I think it makes it more balanced, because I think it's harder to reap the reward of Bullets of Mercy than it is to reap the reward of AI Stability. Yeah, I think they're about just as strong when they're doing it. So AI Stability is often just more reliably strong. Like, I can't aim. I still use AI Stability because weak points are just so easy to hit in this game, right? It's just a thing, right? And then you're not tied down by anything else either, and you're going to be doing like giga damage, thanks to AI Stability.
I think the damage that Bullets of Mercy does is probably slightly more though than AI Stability. However, you do have to obviously account for the fact that AI Stability you can just do it in an instant, like any time. But
inherently any time
you have to calculate.
Yeah. I mean, especially with some of the weapons, like the Zhukovs. This is probably the main reason I stopped using Bullets of Mercy, is because I always used to use it with the cryo minelets, and I realized how much I hate using cryo minelets, and how awkward it is to use that build. It's probably a lot better with the crossbow and fire on the boomstick, but ultimately it's not exactly pleasurable to apply the status effect sometimes, and it's just not worth it in the end. Meanwhile, AI stability, aim at head level. Like literally, I get on a plateau or just find some sort of area where my line of sight is just their head, and I just shoot, and I move left and right, and they walk into it, and it just tears them apart. Like they don't stand a goddamn chance.
Yeah, I mean, it's not on 100% hit rate though with hitting weak points, as in some enemies oftentimes don't even have them
but it's
available
it's
to
even
you.
less than you're even less likely to be applying the effects for bullets and mercy.
Sometimes though,
something on the ceiling, something that's awkward to get to, AI stability, it's still awkward to hit those weak points, but you deal with them easily.
Sometimes it's 100% though. Sometimes it's 100% of enemies where AI stability engine can't do that. It's like kind of weird. I think Dreadnoughts is a good example though. Actually, Dreadnoughts is a good example. The shield stage though.
When you stun them though with AI stability, when you stun them, you can then hit the weak point 100% of the time. Which say like you boomerang, that's like 8 targets that now you just can instantly hit those things on, which is the same as the bullets of mercy.
Boomerang, yeah, you would. Yeah.
It does the same. It's the same thing as bullets of mercy, but now you also have the other positive of it doing it all the time anyway. Like it's got both. So I do actually agree with Tyler. I was originally on the both 4, but I think AI stability is above at a 4, and bullets of mercy is 3.
AI stability gives you pinpoint accuracy at all ranges, right? That's as well. Like bullets of mercy doesn't fuck with how nice the gun feels.
Yeah, you still have recoil. It's still harder to hit targets.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's actually probably easier to hit the things.
Yeah. Plus, what would you use against bosses? I would use
bullets of mercy.
Would you probably use like
status effects?
No, it's not.
Is it
especially
against
they all have
with the crossbow.
All the Dreadnoughts have stages that make Bullets of Mercy better, in my opinion, because it sort of both kind of work at different parts. I would say the twins though, Bullets of Mercy wins pretty easily.
But just on technicality though, Bullets of Mercy, due to the fact that it can't be a 4 just because there's problems with application. 4 means that it's really strong, and having difficulty in application is just going to make it 3.
I mean, I don't inherently think that's what makes Bullets of Mercy balanced. I don't think that's something you can actually use against it.
Balance
yeah, I know.
I think AI stability is a step above balance.
Hold on, we need to actually lay out. We need to actually lay out where we think these are. I think Bullets of Mercy is absolutely fine as a 3, and I was going to give AI stability engine a 4 anyway. So
that's what I've been saying the whole time. Tom was fighting me on that, but I think
you changed my mind.
It's absolutely not a 5. I can understand it being very strong, but it's absolutely not strong enough to be a problem. Is what I'm saying. We have these
when
things.
You're not hitting a weak point. It is rough.
It was the same thing with the weak. It was the same thing with the weak point mod, right? Which is like, yeah, it is good, but is it actually problematically strong? Absolutely not. It doesn't. It could still be the best thing.
It's probably the best build.
Probably will be, as in I don't think Electrifying Reload is going to get a 4 either. It's probably not far off. Electrifying Reload is really, really damn strong. I would say it doesn't feel as strong as it actually. It doesn't feel as strong as it actually is, but it is that strong. I think one bullet can do a grunt, so that's immediately a massive step up. But it's not a single target thing either. But it's not great at quickly clearing hordes either. It's a very
moving on to Electrifying Reload.
Yeah, we gave it a stability engine of 4. Done it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I would say that with conducted bullets on the Zukovs and magnetic shafts on the crossbow, Electrifying Reload is damn good. Because not only have you got that unparalleled AoE electrifying status effect dealing thing, but you also then gain even stronger DPS when you need it with your secondaries. I think it is. I would say probably a 4 as well. I
think it's a 4 with the caveat, not even the caveat, just with the acknowledgement that it is the most different from the original GK2. It handles very differently. You're using it for a very different reason. You're using it more as a support weapon anyway. electrifying reload.
Secondaries, like
Yeah.
often.
But it's so good. It is so good. It's very good at being a support weapon, though. It makes it really good at that. The fact that it can kill so many things so easily, as in, you can put like I think maybe 2 or 3 into an acid spitter will do it because you get the damage that you do. You get the little bit of electric. You get the electric. Yeah, they added like they made it. They gave it like really tiny like embedded detonators of like electric damage, like tiny amount, but it's still there. And they made it actually stronger in general. And they lowered the it doesn't even have the damage penalty anymore either. So your damage is still very, very good.
Things.
Just a tiny max.
You're not really losing
decrease.
anything.
Yeah.
But the amount of ammo efficiency you get from being able to kill them with 1 bullet far outweighs the negative.
It's a bit strange that you're swapping the rolls around of your weapons, but it works. It doesn't. Not for a moment do you feel like a dumbass for taking this. It's not that at all. It is a very, very good. I think 4 is actually absolutely fair, but once again with the acknowledgement that it's not like a traditional overclock. It's not. It's not going to be the traditional GK2 that you're using if you're using it to try and reload, but it's still good enough to demand that. Yeah, which sounds. Maybe that sounds like a 3, but I just think in terms of purely strength-wise,
it's definitely a 4. It easily applies this as effect to basically everything that it can do. Plus, it's strong even if you're not really bothering to use it. Like, it's probably still not that bad. Not to mention it pairs well with 2 of the 3 secondaries.
And I want to point out, I think it was good before that got buffed anyway. It actually was genuinely good. People sort of just shout on it, but it's good. Good, man. All right, cool. That's GK2. What a not surprise here. As in, GK2 kind of doesn't like. As in, it's one of the weapons that you need to ignore for the sake of everything else. It doesn't mean there's nothing that can be done, I would say, but really the only thing that can be done is just giving it more overclocks. That's it. So you kind of can just ignore it. It's really in a very strong contender for being the healthiest weapon.
Actually, I made a point. They when they interacted with this weapon, trying to make it more balanced, they fucking nailed it. Genuinely, there's nothing that needs to be done here, other than maybe make the clean one a bit better. But I think fundamentally it's fine as it is. It's not a sore spot by any means. It's a clean ultimately, and not even that bad of one. But yeah, no, they nailed it. So. Yeah.
Also 7 overclock, so it's really not like a big problem. It's got 7. That's its 3rd clean in my opinion. If you say the other 2 are the first in line, like it's these 2, and they're by 3s.
I don't use gas rerouting. That's the only one I have.
Whatever.
All right.
Whatever.
What I can only assume won't be as good news given our history with this weapon. The M1000 Classic.
What are you talking about? What's that? What is that?
It's basically, Harry, it's a very long gun that is this game's attempt at a sniper.
Competitors in every way.
What did you say? Wait, hold on, Tom. I missed like the dictator word there. The first thing. What is it?
Worse.
Okay, yeah, that's the word that I missed. Yeah, I think so. Go on.
Tom,
shut up.
Everyone else loves this weapon. Genuinely, as far as all like the high skill players, high tier players, like high level players, and even probably people below us in level, they love this weapon. And they think that it is the best by far, and there's no good reason.
I've genuinely boomeranged back around to thinking those people are actually stupider than I did before.
Yeah.
Which sounds a bit unfair. It's not that you are allowed to like any weapon you want, but I think that people don't understand, no matter how good they think the peak of something is, that we're just talking about it in a different light. As in, I think those people could be considered right under certain circumstances. It's possible that the best build for a Scout Primary exists on the M1000. I don't believe that, by the way, but that's possible. That does not mean that it's a good weapon overall. And people need to be able to... You can acknowledge that while also liking it. It's absolutely fine. Just understand, the people who love it can't defend it against the things that we're going to be saying, in my opinion.
because ultimately its pedestal resides on Scout is supposed to take out high value targets. You take out high value targets as quick as humanly possible because that's kind of their risk point. The M1000 one shots most of those, therefore it is the quickest possible way of taking down high value targets. Therefore, the M1000 is the best weapon for Scout. I'm pretty sure that's the logic that is used.
Yeah,
and that is true logic. It is a fact, right? That one shotting high value targets instantly. Well, that's the thing, though.
The blow through rounds allows for actual crowd clearing with skill.
That's the thing. Is that high level players don't like Hipster. They think Hipster is quite bad because Hipster breaks that weak point. Hipster is basically the way of making M1000 fit in with all the other weapons. Meanwhile, they think
Tyler, I understand why you worded that incorrectly because what it does is it tampers with the break point. Because you said breaks that weak point, which I know why, because you couldn't have said breaks that break point, right? It weakens that break. I don't know.
It breaks the strength in their eyes of the weapon by turning it into another GK, another Drak, when ultimately that's why they use the M1000, is that it's different from those two. Now, not in a cool, healthy way, in that it's a different weapon, it's cool, but more in a I need to one-shot all these enemies instantly, or I'm doing my job wrong, and we're going to lose this mission.
Also, people like the ping. It's got good sound design, and reload is really amazing. Actually, I can't deny it's like from like an aesthetic and like sensory perspective, it's also up there.
I think I would like it more though if I was on PC because you can aim easier on PC than you can console.
Yeah, there is that.
You can then literally just be clicking heads of enemies and killing them instantly, but you can't really do that as easily on console because you have to line up the shot, which is really hard when you've got toggles.
Yeah, is ultimately, I think, something we needed to clarify before we talk about it, because all of those reasons, plus the fact that, as mentioned, on console, therefore we don't play Hazard 6x2, we do not value the M1000 as highly as some people do. But ultimately, I think those people are overvaluing it in that while one-shotting those enemies is incredibly valuable, it isn't the end-all be-all of a weapon and the end-all be-all of Scout, right? That should not be all Scout ever is. And which is why, I think this weapon's a bit weird.
Too hard.
Yeah. And it's also why I think it's going to be difficult to approach these mods because I don't know about you, Harry, but do you know what mods you would take to reach the breakpoints? Because I don't, obviously.
Oh shit! Well, yeah. That's
and that's kind of part of the gun that you have to know to be allowed to talk about it in that kind of area. Is
some of us have the experience with it. I mean, I play Scout a lot. I mean, I think Harry's played Scout even more than me, hasn't he? But
yeah. And that's the same thing with and this is skipping the gun.
We don't play M1000 ever. I play Drak and GK.
Like a good man.
We rate electrify focus shots as one of the worst motherfuckers in the game, right? But it actually isn't rated that poorly because ultimately it can one shot a guard, so it has that breakpoint and is treasured for it.
Well, I think it like one shots a guard and anything below it as well. I think that's important because it can one shot acid spitters and tri-jaws and like probably spitters now, the spreaders I mean now as well. Must be able to do bundles as well now, I suppose. And obviously sashes and grunts as well. With one focus shot though. That's two ammo, by the way. So I don't know how good is that really.
Ultimately, that is it as well, though. They don't really care about ammo consumption because ultimately,
no, they don't.
What does it matter if you're taking down deadly enemies in an instant?
One shot isn't good because it's a small amount of ammo. One shot is good because it's one click, and and that's quick. Is what that means. It's fast. So look at the total damage difference. Oh, these only have one. That's just lower than you get. That doesn't mean anything. That happens a lot. It doesn't actually mean anything.
That's the thing. It is a very weird and interesting weapon, but ultimately it doesn't really portray that very well.
Anyway, shut up. All right, let's get into it. Actually, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
As far as I know, ammo is like 100% of the time though. Still, because it doesn't change the break points by taking the damage. So as far as I know, in the eyes of some
ammo.
people, it's actually like a 5 and a 1 probably. Obviously, we're probably not going to do that. I think though, I think a 4 and a 2 is absolutely acceptable though in this case, because I definitely use ammo all the time.
I have ammo on everything other than my pure damage one, and I shouldn't have damage on that pure damage one. I have too much damage.
Even hipster, it gives you so much ammo. It's way better to use ammo still. Like way better.
Ultimately, it is probably a 4 to 1. No, probably not 4 to 1, but it's once again, it's one of those things. It is literally one of those things that you don't need it because of the breakpoint. Right? That's why it's bad, because it's a notable breakpoint. Not just because it is bad, but because of a certain number that it has to be, and if it goes over that,
but I think this is the part. This is the part of that applies to casual players as well. I think it's not a noticeable enough benefit to take that damage. It's like it definitely applies to us as well in this case, where the ammo is always the better pick. That's not a high tier player thing.
I mean, realistically, if we want to jump in the gun, 5 to 1, right? Like, ammo is always getting picked, damage is never getting picked, right?
Yeah, and I think you can fix that, mate. Like, literally, the damage should just be more, and I don't think it should lose out on total ammo. So we should probably add some to the base weapon.
That's the annoying thing. Add more damage won't change anything. My players.
No, but you could though. You could if you change it so that they don't need electrifying focus shots to do the things that they want to do. Except although you couldn't do it you'd have to add too much to make it work against a guard though. So you probably couldn't do that. You'd have to add like 40, I'm pretty sure. So maybe I think it should either be 5 and 2 or 4 and 1.
I think probably 4 and 1.
All right, yeah, that's cool. Should be 5, but
in 5 and 1. When would you pick the damage? Never 1. When would you pick the ammo? Always 5.
Yeah, and it's not even just because the damage is bad either. It's not like, oh, I might as well take ammo. No, it's always a great pick as well. You're not just lumped with it. It's like you're probably choosing it deliberately. You're not actually forsaking damage, but you also are. Either way,
just want that ammo.
You could either be taking ammo because you want ammo, or because you just don't need the damage, and both would be equally valid in every build, like as reasons for taking the ammo. I look forward to your letters. All right, tier 2. Right, we got focus speed, we got recoil, we got armor breaking. Now, as far as I know, armor breaking is the king, right, for these people, these fellas, isn't it? These strange people, because they can hit like those electrocuting focus shots from any angle, whatever, something like that. Focus speed is good. I think I'm gonna give it an automatic 3. Recoil is nothing, because honestly, even for us, the only time hip firing is with hipster, and you don't need reduced recoil. You want to be able to body shot better with hipster, so you're taking armor breaking. So this is actually one where recoil, which is actually increased accuracy, reduced bloom, and reduced recoil, but it ultimately doesn't do anything. So, sorry, better weight balance. I don't know if that means we're giving armor breaking a 4 though, just because those people like it. I do think it's good.
Would you use it? Like always.
With hipster and electrocuting focus shots, definitely I would. Although I don't really like using those things, and I still use it with my favorite overclock, which is AS, because I have faster focus speed anyway.
I don't actually use armor breaking on any of mine. So.
I do. Probably multiple of them.
Armor breaking on anything ever.
That's because you're stupid. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. 3, 2 to 1, 3.
2. Yeah, 3, 2, 3. I think.
Yeah.
I guess.
All right.
Okay. I have. It's actually equal to armor breaking and focus speed, half and half. Only because 3 of them are super cooling chamber. And 2 of them are hipster. Wait, what? That's ridiculous. Fuck this weapon, man. All right, 3, 2, 3.
Yeah. Right.
Hold on.
3.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Tier 3. We got Killer Focus. I like this one. Plus 25% focus shot multiplier. And plus 6 clip size. I think it was lazy. Maybe someone who said like that this is like just actually really bad, or is it like specifically really bad with super cooling chamber because of how percentage bonuses work or some nonsense. Either way, was that you? Was that like your count, or was that your rating? Or was it both?
Well, both. But yeah, they seem of equal value to me. Reloading is a bit of a pain in the ass with the M1000.
Yeah, but also focus shots almost take as much time anyway. Wait, hold on. My favorite build, does it use? It uses extra damage anyway, and it's actually I have a slower reload. I don't even like placate it with the thing in tier 5. So I really do not value magazine size. I don't know if people do in general either. I just don't know that though. That's the thing. I don't know what the consensus is on this tier.
Talk about.
I think
none of them have any idea about.
I think this tier is a bit of one of those tiers where it doesn't really matter that much. They may look like it does a lot, but ultimately it won't change that much.
It's not actually that impactful, is it? But it's still more damage. Obviously, this is an obvious pick for hipster, but that's the only thing I know. So if we don't care that much, then maybe we can just leave it at 3 and 3.
Yeah, I think it ultimately doesn't matter to most of everything. Just kind of preference slightly.
Slightly. All right. Okay. The weird one. Weird because plus 3 penetration. I hate it's actually a lot, and then plus 20% weak point bonus. And yeah, they like that blow through, don't they, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean blow through is. Well, I mean, I'm not sure the big guys like blow through inherently. It's just like, do you want this weapon to be anything other than a weak point killer? Yes, blow through, and it's not often that you would want to limit it entirely to weak points. Really, do you?
No.
Like, you would want it to be flexible. You would want it to be a primary, right? You would want it to be able to kill multiple enemies. And so, yeah, I mean, it's probably a 4 to 2, I would say.
No,
right?
there's no way that this weapon is. There's no way that taking weak point damage is a suboptimal pick. 4 and 3.
Right, yeah.
I just can't. I understand. I actually think blow through is more valuable than most on a high number of builds, or majority of builds. But there's no way that it's like taking weak point damage is a bad idea for the M1000. So, yeah, sure, 4 and 3. Which is whatever. I don't care. I hate this weapon. Fucking hate it. Probably is. What?
I hate it too.
Yeah. We all do.
I'm also
hate it.
Yeah. What does that
don't
say?
Like the weapon.
Don't
use it.
Do you know why? Because we like fun.
Yeah, the only time I like using it is using super cooling chamber with max damage against like bosses, and even then I miss most of the time, so it's not entirely fun. But when that one shot does go off, that is nice.
Yeah. Tier 5. Hitting where it hurts. Wow. Stun. It adds stun. Don't even have it by default. Precision terror. Killing machine. Well, that's fear.
Is that a slight dig there? Is it?
What?
Is that wow, a weapon doesn't even have it by default?
No, not really. Anyway, fear. We've got area of fear. When you kill an enemy with a focus shot to the weak point, which is quite specific. Quite good, though. And then killing machine, which feels pretty nice. The best I can say about it, though. Although, if I'm being perfectly honest, they're probably actually fairly equal. I can understand stun. It makes a lot of sense. It's not like you have to kill. It's not like you have to kill anything. Like precision terror. I love precision terror though.
It's probably 4-4-3, maybe 4-4-2. We're talking about like actually it being useful. Either like any enemy that you don't one shot with the thing, it's then left on stun. So you've essentially still like kind of incapacitated it, right?
Yeah.
Actually, what is the chances? Oh yeah, 100% stun chance. So even if you don't kill it, it's incapacitated. The fear one is a good crowd control, right?
Great, actually. It's definitely my favorite. I love it.
One of the things, all the things run away. Ultimately, that reload speed thing is not on the same tier. It's just not. It's just not.
No, it kind of can't be, I
Yeah.
suppose. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that. I mean, my favorite build uses an
Maybe-
overclock that reduces reload time, or reduces reload speed, I should say. And I don't feel compelled to use that or even increase magazine size. I just don't
I
care.
think 443. Let's go with.
I
'Cause
actually like
obviously it's
that.
not a bad shout, but it's not. It's just not on the same tier. It's just
Yeah,
not
well, honestly, the thing is, maybe 442 makes more sense because I feel like Killing Machine's only getting away with anything because it just feels kind of nice. But is it actually good at all?
Probably not.
Probably
In
not.
any way, shape, or form. I don't see where that would help you, really.
But I still use it sometimes.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just... But yeah, I don't know. Up to you. Or 4, whatever you want.
Let's give it 2. Well, I thought people were going to be like, "Oh, why would you give those 2 4s? They're not like that much better." I don't know. I do find it strange when we have a tier that's like 4, 4, and 2. That sounds weird. That's a bit odd.
And don't do that. It's up to you.
No, but it makes sense to me somehow. But it. Because maybe I do think those other 2 are actually fairly balanced. Actually, they're probably as good as the M1000 as tier 5 should be, and then Killing Machine is just below them. So I don't see why we would give them 4s. Actually, is what I'm saying.
332 then.
Yeah, that's exactly that.
And do that.
Ick. Oh, okay, right. Overclocks. Overclock.
It's like the worst special powder. I like a lot.
By a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it allows you to like actually fly, kind of sometimes, but.
Getting a kill or obviously touching the ground. Getting a kill lets you hover again. Always forget about that.
Yeah.
Kind of weird, isn't it? But it can't actually be that useful, really, can it? Like, it can't be.
Useful.
It just can't be.
Like, I mean, it's not useful, but ultimately the M1000 needs more than that. I don't know. You can't really be doing that with its overclock.
That sounds like a pretty easy 2.
Yeah.
And I still think it actually holds some value in what it does, kind of. But it's like we sort of made pretty clear, it's really not what you should be. Probably just not the right direction to take the M1000.
Yeah.
I was about to say much like minimal clips. I don't know if I believe that, but minimal clips at the same time, I know it's not really getting any. Probably not getting to get any support. People, I reckon it probably doesn't really have any defenders.
But yeah, everyone hated minimal clips.
What?
Right? I remember when we did the poll. Minimal clips was like the very, very bottom.
That doesn't mean it's hated though.
Yeah, it means no one wants. Like, no one's going to defend it.
Yeah.
Like, it's. I don't blame them. It's almost definitely another 2, I would say.
Oh God. Maybe.
It's an embarrassment on the weapon if that's a 3.
Okay, no. I don't use it.
No one should and would.
No one could.
Oh.
Thomas? Not that I care, but Thomas? Give me a 2. Thomas?
I keep asking him about the cleans.
What?
He's never
cleans
used
anyway.
a clean.
Tom, do you know what clean is? You like you like active stability system, don't you?
What's that one?
Okay, do you know what weapon we're talking about? Do you know...
Drag. I guess.
No.
Right? Just do it.
Anyway, active stability system is balanced. My favourite actually. This is my favourite M1000 overclock. Genuinely, but what that means is that I'm stupid, and it probably isn't actually that good. However, we're just gonna give it a 3. What does it do again? No movement penalty. I didn't realise it was no movement penalty. Bloody hell. Okay. And increased focus speed. Cool.
As far as I'm
It's a
aware,
free.
that is actually the preferred one.
Is it? Is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Really? That's amazing. Can we give it a 4? Can we give
Yeah, you could. Not gonna stop you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that probably isn't correct, though, right? Probably not. Maybe gotta leave it there. At the same time, where does that leave hipster? Because hipster is obviously like, I don't know.
Definitely a 4. It doesn't matter what the upper fuckers think. It allows a whole generation of players to use this weapon.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kidding because I know
It
that
makes
I
it
do.
so easy to
I do
use.
kind of like hipster, and I don't like hipster. I don't mind using it. I don't like its existence. I still think it's really overpowered, pretty much. It's still just hogging too much ammo. I mean, what? Times 1.913 max ammo. What kind of number is that? As in, it's a stupid number, but it's also almost double ammo. Stupid fucking hipster. Which means obviously that's why it's like exponentially so much better with increased ammo as well, because it's the percentage, not just plus this amount of ammo. Goodness gracious! Look at that total damage.
If you think it's overpowered, then it's a 5, right?
But at the same time, it's like it's literally the thing stopping it from being like objectively like overbearingly too strong is that I don't think its usefulness matches how like stupid it is, right? I don't think it's actually insanely useful to have. I just think it feels really nice, more so than anything. I think you can definitely do just as well, if not better, in more specific categories for other means. It's a very generalist thing, and it's just a lot of ammo to get through that you might not always get through anyway, which sounds like odd as a thing that's like a hit, but it kind of is. I think 4 makes most sense still. Although 5, and again, I do think it needs like, goodness me. And what do you actually think then? Self.
I don't know. I've stopped caring about the M1000 for a very long time. Because obviously we're always of the opinion that the M1000 is ruled by hipster. Everyone uses hipster. But that's just like the bulk of people use it like that.
Yeah.
Like it's the way the layman uses the M1000. And I'm not sure. I don't think layman is an insult, is it? It's the
I
everyman.
don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. And I think that there might be a good case for 5 here in that what I want to happen to it in terms of nerfing, I once again want it to be, maybe you would have to change it to a flat value as well to do this, but that some of that ammo needs to go to the base weapon, because that would help people not use hipster, because they want all that ammo, and it proves that other builds wouldn't inherently become overpowered just because they have that much ammo. Because I don't know. I think 5 might be the most... Obviously, I'm not saying we have any kind of influence, but it might be the most useful place to put it for what we believe should happen. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense, actually. It is strange because I don't find myself drawn to actually using it at all. But that's not... I guess that's not actually what a 5 means.
What do you feel yourself drawn to use it when you use the M1000? If you ever feel like using
active stability system, as in I actually like... I have a build with that I like using, genuinely. That's where I go. Which is why I was tempted to give that a 4. And I think we could... Hold on. So electrocuting focus shots. We know that certain people like it. In fact, that guy, you might... I don't know if you've heard of Psychic Sploob, but you probably haven't because he's been gone for 2 years. So, no, you haven't, have you? You haven't.
No, not at all.
No, but he just came out of nowhere, and it was just a build video about electrocuting focus shots. It's like, this is what you... 2 years? Cool. No, he's cool though. But electrocuting focus shots is... Look, I can't deny the points that are made about it. but I can deny that it's good. Like, but I don't think it is. I think it's really dumb. I don't care how good you think killing something that quickly is. It's hilarious how much better electric reload is. Because how much is this? Okay, 6 seconds is actually quite a lot. Hold on. This is way more damage than I thought, actually. But I need to whip out the old pocket calculator for this. 22.5 times by 6 is 135 electric damage. But that is a maximum of, if we take that and that, 150, 75, 10,125 electric damage. Okay, not bad. It's not bad. What about electric reload? You want to go with every single bullet. Let's take that as well, just for good measure. It's 450 bullets, which is 3 electric damage plus the 22.5 per second. Times 6 and 35, 3 times by 450 is 62,100. About 6 times as much damage you can get out of electric reload and out of electric deep focus shots.
Do you include the blow through?
No, but so obviously that exists.
You times it by 3.
You could times it by You could times it by 3. Great. You can make sure every individual GK2 bullet can hit an enemy. So, what I'm saying is, fuck electric focus shots. Fuck you, Tyler. No, I don't mean that. I love you. I don't know where to actually put it though, because I don't think it's terrible for the M1000 though. That's the thing. I used to think it was a terrible downgrade, but I don't think it's that bad for the M1000 itself, if I'm being completely honest. I could honestly see myself giving it a 3, which is really scary. Really. I would have to give active stability system a 4 though. If we did that, and I'd love to do that. Don't get me wrong.
And do it.
All right, that's cool. Okay. Yeah, let's get to 4. Look, once again, I do not think we're going to be agreed with about this.
We never have been with the M1000,
and I don't feel particularly confident anyway in what we're saying.
Yeah, because we hate using the M1000 generally. Like, it's difficult to gather an opinion on a weapon you can't stand using.
Yeah.
With AI, the ass.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Hopefully, I know you don't care about it in general, but maybe you've got something to say about super cooling chamber. You got something. Yeah. It's bad though, right? It is bad still. It did get buffed. It's not bad. I still don't feel like there's a secondary that placates this depressing level of ammo though. I just feel like I have nothing when I use it. I have so little that I can use against the enemies.
You should never bring it into a thing where you don't know if there's going to be an enemy with more than 1,000 health, right?
Yeah. You know what I still found so fucking funny is the first mission that Snowing Fate played of season 3. He took this because he knew that the Rockpox had covered in weak points.
Right.
He's like, I'm going to try super cooling chamber because they got buffed. And he was focus shotting the Rockpox blisters and missing most of the time as well. It was hilarious. Oh, that was but sad in a lot of ways as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's in very, very, very specific circumstances, it's fine.
So I guess the question is it could we give it a 2?
You need
would that be too much?
Aiming, because you need to be able to hit every single shot, or you waste so much of your ammo and damage. You need to have an enemy with a available weak point that has a shit ton of health, and you need a secondary that you can then use to deal with everything other than that single enemy type, I guess we'll call it, and then it's all right. You could use AI stability, right?
What do you mean AI? You can't stop thinking about it. You can't stop.
You just it's the same build for my guy. It's AI stability or super cooling chambers, or then the thingy on the drag. Just basically pure damage.
Okay, so let's we can agree that it's a 2 at best. But is it a 2?
It's not. It's not a 1. It's not a 1.
It's not a
I'd
1.
want it to
All right.
be fast.
Okay.
It's not a 1.
Okay.
Because you can't deny the damage that it pulls off, right? Like, like when we just I'm like, fuck it, super cooling chambers, and we're in the middle of a dreadnought fight, and suddenly it misses it loses a quarter of its health.
I do notice
shit,
it.
right?
I do notice that. When that happens, I'm like, oh,
it's just
wow.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's difficult to do with shit aim, and it's ultimately not worth it either. Really, like going into the mission is such a huge risk because you are just under equipped for like 95% of the enemies in the game, or over equipped. I would say it would be overkill pressing the trigger once with that weapon. So little ammo, so much damage hidden behind that ammo as well, that it's overkill and a waste whenever you kill anything other than like a dreadnought with it. Like just a boss generally. So I don't know, it's fun, but in a really debilitating way.
I've seen 1000. Well, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Not fun. It's just debilitating.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I go pure damage because fuck it. If I'm not going to have any ammo, I'm not going to have any ammo, but I'm going to get the most damage out of it. But even then, if you safe balled it, it still probably wouldn't be that good.
Yeah, once again, we'll reiterate. You are allowed to like the M1000, but understand something. It is objectively unhealthy compared to the other two. It's unbalanced compared to the other two. That is just completely undeniable. It's got issues in that regard that simply cannot be avoided, right? You cannot truly think it's a perfectly well-rounded weapon, because that's just wrong. And that's okay. You're allowed to be wrong.
Yeah,
but not here, not around here. No, we're always right. Eventually. Okay. Let's actually talk about a good weapon. A fun weapon. A nice weapon. Cool guy. The drag. There it is. Almost here.
Yep.
We're talking about the drag now.
You can start.
Yeah. Okay. The one that actually got the changes actually in season 4. Only a couple of things, but they still exist. Okay. Let's not be silly. Get to it. Tier 1, we got rate of fire, +4 rate of fire, or we have minus 25% heat per shot, or we got double projectile velocity. Zam. That's a lot. Okay. I think heat is slightly underwhelming, right? I get why you'd want to use it, but I think about it in the context of all the good builds, where it's like, if it's a build where heat isn't a problem, you're going to take something else anyway. And even when it is a problem, that's when it's worth using. That's why it's not a 1. But even then, I prefer doubling down because I can manage the heat. I don't think a lot of people can anyway.
Yeah, it's one of those mods, one of those skill diff mods that helps people that struggle with heat mechanics, which all of them have that have heat, right?
Yeah.
That's just a thing. But it doesn't make it good. It just means it's good. It's a good thing it's in the game. So I would say 2, right?
Yes. Yeah. I want to look at my builds though, because obviously I would have said that rate of fire and velocity are both like equal, but obviously the Drac is rate of fire incarnate almost by default. So I want to see if how much I use velocity, because not actually as much as I thought, but I still think velocity is probably the better choice. That just makes it more reliable. You don't actually need more rate of fire, but velocity is helpful though, genuinely.
Velocity is added range, essentially.
Yeah.
Right, with the projectile weapon, which is always nice. And the fire rate, I don't think it needs it. I don't think it hurts it when you pick it though. So I think 3, 2, 3.
Okay, because what I was getting at there is whether or not maybe the velocity could be a 4, and I part of me says that it should be, but I can't say that based on my.
Make it inherently better.
Well, yeah. Do you think the rate of fire does make it inherently better, but it's just not more inherently useful? It's like
it makes it deal more damage, but or deal quicker damage.
I mean, in a way, velocity does as well.
No.
Yes.
No. It doesn't shoot those things faster. They just get there faster.
Yeah, that's quicker damage.
Not overall.
Especially if you miss because you don't have
doing
quick
damage
projectiles.
quicker. You don't do more damage in a quicker amount of time.
All right. Sure. 3, 2, 3. Sounds good to me. Nope. 3, 2, 3. Wow. Okay. Tier 2. Ammo or damage? Ammo or damage? Usually ammo. I'm going to be honest. Actually, almost always ammo. To be honest, and the only one where you're actually, it's not. It's an okay decision. Is shield battery booster. That's really the only one. I think ammo wins out pretty significantly. Not sure how bad the damage is, and I don't think it is bad really at all. But, maybe.
Oh yeah, ammo gets trounced. The only one that
you mean damage gets trounced?
But yeah. And the only one I have damage on is the one that I already have damage on because I doubled down. And realistically, I could probably be using ammo on that to medium it out.
Yeah, overtuned particle accelerator. Yeah, you do not want to be. Yeah, I would. That's one of the ones where I would not. The only reason you can do that is because it's okay. It's like not a bad idea on a cryo build. Only because everything's frozen. Therefore, you're not going to miss, and you get a lot more out of shots anyway. That's maybe okay. Which is why I think 4 and 2, as in 4 and 2 or 4 and 3. I don't know about 3.
Not 3.
Okay.
Clearly not 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I wouldn't be worried. Drac, don't worry. You're doing okay. You're doing fine. Doing fine. Probably the worst. This is probably the sorest spot. Let's be honest. Tier 3. That's just accuracy, and it is noticeable. Once again, we have another cooling one, and we also have hot feet. So I don't know if we want to shaft the cooling again. Personally, I would. By the way, I would disregard it once again and probably give it a 2. Maybe we just should. What is it?
Well,
that's
I've got the most
decreased heat per shot. That's increased cooling rate and cooldown delay.
What 2 in all of them?
Whatever. Hot feet rules. And accuracy is good as well. Okay, but you're not going to fight for cooling, are you?
Really, no.
Although it might
I fight for their place in the game.
Hold on. So let's look at the 2 tiers though. Which one do you think there's a difference between the value of the cooling mods in the 2 tiers in which they exist? As in, do you think maybe this one's better than the tier 1 one?
Probably not.
Okay. I think 3, 2, 3 then is probably reasonable. I don't know if you like value hot feet more than accuracy or anything like that. I mean, I don't think I do either. Hot feet is quite specific.
Only if you intend on overheating, which not often you do that. Sometimes you do.
It's more than one. It's more than one thing, and it is good as well. It is good.
Use it on aggressive venting and just ammo for some reason. Oh, rewiring mod because I want to overheat often to get my ammo back.
Yeah.
This is nice.
That could make accuracy better though. Accuracy might be the best choice, like definitively though. That's very likely. Let's have a look. Why am I using cooling there? Am I stupid? Am I daft?
Ooh.
Not actually that many. Oh, okay, more accuracy. All the unstable ones use accuracy. Sorry.
2-3 is fine.
It's fine. Sure.
Hot feet is fine. Accuracy is fine. The cooling is fine still, but ultimately that's fine. It's a middling.
It's less fine.
Yeah.
We're feeling fines today. Tier 4. Oh boy. Alright, we've got overcharged penis collider. Just electrocution chance. Collider. Got plasma splash, the good one. And we got armor breaking, which is okay, but it's definitely suboptimal here. Armor breaking is suboptimal here, in my opinion. If it was
one of the only armor breakings I pick.
That's interesting. That's interesting. It's also not a particularly strong armor breaking either. Like, for example, the GK2, I mean, gets 500%. I think this is not bad, but suboptimal. This is definitely not a best. It's far from like a. Both of the others make more sense almost most of the time. Or pretty much all the other. Yeah. So
Smash only really works with impact deflection. It's like the only time.
No, son. Most of the time, yeah. Well, no, because you are a not stupid if you use it with aggressive venting, and I think it's actually weirdly good with rewiring mod.
Why?
It just is.
No, that's not a good reason.
No, it just is though.
No, but that's not a good reason.
What? Okay.
Is there any reason why the area damage is preferable to electricity or armor breaking? There isn't really, is
because rewiring mod is something that was supposed to. It works.
Sure, but no better than all the other ones.
Yes, better. Yes, it is. It is. Maybe I'll be able to explain it better when we get to rewiring mod. So, what would you give Plants to Splash then?
I don't know. I think they're all like 3.
How is this not a 4?
It probably is a 4. The electric one, yeah. No, 4, 3.
We can go. Oh right, let's do that. That's fine. Actually, that is perfectly fine because I think electricity, like I don't know, some people are like sharp. It's more damage and slow down. Alright, it's good. It's just good. Works on every build.
3 damage.
Yeah, literally, the only time you shouldn't use it is impact deflection, I guess. But even an impact deflection is fine if you want to use a generalist build anyway. You don't even have to go for like the AoE route, so you could still use it. Perfectly fine. Tier 5, fucking bizarre, because it's the only like, mod tier in the game where you can actually benefit from not using one of them. Although that's under quite specific circumstances. But it might still play a role. So we have manual heat dump, which, okay, let's be honest, they're just both pretty okay. They are not insanely exciting, but they're interesting ways of some heat. They're interesting heat things, kind of maybe.
I think it really points out the fact that the Drac actually had overheating not as a punishment for shooting too long, but as an actual part of the way you use the gun. Overheating is not a secondary part. It is one of the main features of this weapon and how you can use it. And Tier 5 proves that in that if you actively want to overheat quickly, manual heat dump, which you would want to do for like at least 2 builds, at least.
It also just works as like a manual like reload thing. I'm not sure why exactly you would do that, but you could still use it on OPA as well, which I don't, but you could use it on that. Obviously, it's more so for like these two. But you could use it on any of them. You wouldn't use it on these two, but some people use it on shield battery booster though.
I started using it on that because it's actually genuinely a good idea.
It even works there, yeah.
I think it's like some weird glitch where like if you do it yourself, it, like instantly starts recharging. At this point, with the way they tinkered with that, it doesn't really matter anymore. But no, it's still fine. And yeah, thermal feedback loop is obviously you are still probably going to overheat, or at least you're debating it. Or if you don't want to overheat, then you just gain a boost in fire rate, right? That's just kind of thing. Like you get a reward for you just get better, like for holding it down for longer. And I don't know. It's
just good in general, but it's also made the thermal exhaust feedback.
Yeah,
they are like married, even though that is like a dangerous combo. Though it's like actually like dangerous, not dangerous like to your health, but like
playing with fire.
You are literally playing with fire, but it's still they are meant to be paired together. Still, I think it's a very free. It is 3 and 3, but it's still the shield battery booster thing is still very bizarre. Where it's like there's the third option, which is none. As in, I would like to see a third option that is neutral in that way. I really would. Obviously, then the Drac would be very greedy. But
The third option should be that you have like a 10% chance of not overheating when it overheats. It just doesn't, and you
What
pick
the
that
hell?
with the thingy just in
That's
case, so
scary.
it doesn't overheat.
Okay, no, you wouldn't rely on it. You wouldn't rely. You obviously you couldn't. No, you. Yeah, it's not actually scary. Sure. Why not? Why not? Overclocks.
Yeah.
Maybe the best overclock selection in the game. Apart from this, so we got TLC, Tender Loving Care. The reason why this is suboptimal though is not for the same reason as the GK2's one. The reason why that is because base Drac isn't that strong, actually, without overclocks. Yeah. So the cleaner doesn't add anything is not a good pick, really.
Once again, though, this is an overclock for the people that can't stop overheating.
But at the same time, I reckon the people who use this probably don't like the Drac that much because they're stuck using the base Drac.
Yeah,
but they can't move beyond it because they feel like they need this convenience, but you don't. You need to move beyond that.
It's an overclock for the hazard 1s and 2 players. I think that's what you need to bear in mind.
Sure.
For the players whose the base Drac is strong enough and they keep overheating because they're like brand new to games, or they're a child, like a literal genuine child.
Yeah.
And that this is an idea for them.
So
still 2, but ultimately, I don't think they should change it. I don't think they should remove it. I don't think they should do anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. Aggressive venting. It's completely insane that this is a clean. I just want to point that out. And obviously, the main reason why it's so insanely strong is manual heat dump, but also people don't understand how much stronger it is when you max overheat though as well. The reason why manual heat dump's so good is because it means you can do it quickly and therefore fear things quickly. But it doesn't kill great if you do it then. It's still just damn fantastic. It's pretty insane crowd clearing on Scout. And it's just generally good crowd control as well with the fear that it inflicts. So I don't think there's a single thing that you can really level against this because you are perfectly valid in building your primary for crowd clearing now as a scout because of what you can do for secondary. That's a perfectly valid approach to take. So that's not a flaw with it.
I mentioned thing earlier where Gen 3 made Scout stronger because the Drac can and will be AoE. Which is not something he had beforehand. The best was penetrating rounds and 1000, and now he has the Drac with the multiple sources of AoE damage.
Yeah,
and this is the freest one, arguably.
I think it's a pretty strong 4, to be honest.
Yeah,
it sounds like it's overpowered. It's not actually. Somehow, it's not overpowered.
It's inconvenient to use.
It can be, yeah, exactly. It does. It almost balances itself by that because you're not. You do often put yourself in danger to get good use out of it as well. I think it balances itself out, but it is still technically a shitload of damage for free, and it is damn strong. I'm feeling a 4.
It's free. It's essentially free. It's a
and by that you mean a 4. Not a 3. Yeah. I think that's pretty. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Rewiring mod, a very, very strange one. The one that sort of gets that I tend to not use, but I still think it is actually good. I think it's good.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, I talked about the plasma splash thing, and that's probably still confusing. I think maybe I can explain it in the sense that the best way to use rewiring mod is where you have no preference for what you shoot and how you shoot. You just spray it at everything you can until you overheat, basically. Some things
better for that.
Plasma Splash goes through armor.
Yeah, but you could break armor for
and it also means that when you're moving between targets, you have a bit higher chance of not wasting ammo as well. There's that part of it. So for me, Plasma Splash pairs very well with rewiring mod. And it's not what you have to do either. Rewiring mod is actually, to me, the rewiring mod forces you into a certain play style while using it, but it's also weirdly flexible in how you can build it at the same time. As in, I think you could build it for damage or ammo. It's very strange.
The way that you're the killing part of the gun doesn't really matter at all with that. You would spend more time focusing on like making sure that you can do just enough to where you can force a reload and like all the stuff like that than actually like killing them, right? Like when normally you're focused on like damaging and like doing other things. This time you're really just focused on like how can I conserve or get back as much ammo as possible. Like you're so focused on ammo efficiency with this fucking overclock. It is weird.
Yeah,
It
and
is
obviously I talked
disorientating.
about how I don't use it that much, but I actually have a weird amount of reverence for it almost. The fact that it works at all. But like I mentioned, it does lock you into a very strange play style that I think it only makes sense to just give it a 3, I think. For sure.
Yeah.
It's not particularly powerful. It is absolutely not weak, certainly, but it is like bizarre. Yeah, I think 3 is the only fair place to put it, really. We could honestly talk about it a lot, but we would ultimately arrive at the conclusion that we can't actually put it anywhere other than 3. You know? So I just have to put it in. Same with impact deflection, I think. Although impact deflection obviously has some it might be more obvious in its strength, maybe. It's obviously something that makes Plasma Splash extremely valuable, and I think that build is absolutely fantastic because it's good crowd clearing, but it's also still weirdly okay at single target damage because of the way it doesn't like care where you hit things. Well, you gotta hit underneath things, but apart from that, it's like you can deal good damage from pretty much any angle, though, is the idea. But it's also mainly for crowd clearing. So, and it works in general as like just basically as a clean for using either of the others. So I think it's actually very acceptable to view it through the lens of its best version, which is using Plasma Splash. And that's quite strong. Although I don't know where I place it, to be honest. Obviously we know that's at least a 3. Right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think so.
It's a build.
but it really is a build, though. I think this is a very, very potent like build that almost presents itself to you. It's one of those ones where it's like you should be using this and Plasma Splash, as in those two are very they get along very well. You know? Yeah. We talked about how thermal source feedback and that are kind of married, but they in some ways it's a bit of like I need some counselling. I don't know.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's a bit of an unhealthy one.
Maybe 3. I mean, let's give it a 3 for now. Probably, and it probably won't go up, but whatever. The unstables, all of which kind of do the same thing when you think about it, but in just in completely different ways. Yeah, but it's all in different ways. You've got one that is basically just like the platonic ideal of an unstable, where massive benefit, but it like fucking does a lot in everything else,
but it's still as much damage as reasonably possible, as it needs to. Then tries to make it reasonable.
Well, I almost think it's the other way around, where the penalties came first. It's just like how much damage do we need to add to make it reasonable, because it is enough to downplay the negatives. It's really strong. It's damn strong.
Yeah, I think 4, right? So. I think the negatives meet the positive. Like it is balanced, but I think it is balanced to a strong degree.
Yeah. As in, I don't know if you agree with me, but I remember thinking about this just before, not before we started, maybe like just before today even. I was thinking, I think all the unstables are 4s. I think. Sort of in my head.
Yeah. I mean, definitely.
Possibly.
Now.
Okay, let's give OPA a 4. I don't personally feel that too strongly. But that's mainly because it's not my preference. I know that it is, like I explained, it can't not be strong because it's something that has like a lot of weaknesses, and yet it's strong enough to downplay them pretty easily. So it must be really strong. So sure, I guess it gets caught. Show battery booster. Show battery booster. Oh my god.
New one. The touch.
The new one. It was. All right. So let's just put this out there. It was good before season 4. You're all idiots. But now it is very good. It's very good. It's just a genuinely fantastic pick. And but it's still a 4, as in I think it might be more of a 4 than the other two, right?
You're very awkward.
Yeah,
right?
in some ways it is as well. Yeah, it's not completely gone away, and also shield disruption still exists, and you're still going to be interrupted by chip damage. But once again, the thing that made it good before is still there, which is you still have a couple of benefit, sort of clean level, but they're still there of increased rate of fire and ammo. So lucky you. You're still slightly better than base track, even when you don't have the benefit, which is much easier to get. And now even better yet, it actually buffs your shield. What?
Yeah.
So it's got that going for it too.
I really hope they kind of play along with that with new overclocks or new weapons down the line.
Yeah, so maybe something to do with a microwave meal might be nice.
Don't
know what that's all about.
Yeah. So I think 4, yeah, and then I think
this is actually an easier 4 for me actually than the other two. And then we got thermal exhaust feedback, which is part of me was about to say that it's the most reliable one, but that's not true. But in some ways it is. They're all sort of unreliable and reliable at the same time, just in different ways. Like OPA's always got that damage, but it's also inaccurate as sin. But still, battery booster is like the height, like the peak. It's like I think it's the biggest damage up. Well, actually, it's not. It's a big damage up, and it's like perfectly accurate with increased velocity even and ammo. But it's like it depends on the state. It depends on the state of your shield. Thermal exhaust feedback can always be used, but it's not always active still. It's like, but you can still always use it, and it doesn't harm things like accuracy or anything like that. But it also comes in a different form as well, in the form of fire damage. But it still works pretty well. As in, I think in terms of the actual, certainly in terms of single target damage, it is definitely has the lowest, probably the lowest yield out of the 3. But I think it is in some ways the most reliable one. Right? I think it is, actually. But it's just the weirdest. In terms of the damage that it deals.
It's literally, they're all good. They're all like, fuck it, let's kill them. And then like the other two are like more that they're like a bit of AoE, and then you got ammo, and it's pretty simple. But they're all interesting versions of the simple things. If a little bit too simple, I'd prefer, or a little bit too complicated, I prefer just a simple ammo. But that's
I like when it doesn't. But it's not something that really needs that though. For being honest,
but yeah, even this, like, this is a slightly more complicated way of just dealing status effects, but it already has a simple way, so it has both. Just one.
Yeah, TEF is like it sort of basically leaves the Drac intact for the most part, but it has like a rage mode built into it as well. Basically,
yeah,
it gets angry when it gets hot. It gets cross, and I like it. And I think just based on my usage of it, especially over things like rewiring mod, it probably also gets a 4. That makes me want to give impact deflection a 4 as well, though. And part of that is because how I talked about it's still very, very solid at dealing with single targets. Genuinely, it's a great all-rounder with a more of a specking into crowd clearing. And it feels kind of weird to have that many 4s, but I think that's right, because rewiring mod is definitely a 3, but I think all of these are better than it.
Yeah.
So it sounds weird, but I think that is the right thing to do. So it was going to give impact deflection a 4.
The Drac is really strong, really goddamn strong, like really, really goddamn strong. But not like broken strong, just all around. It has so many builds that are strong, and it's just good.
Yeah.
That much is clear with the numbers.
Let me show you those numbers. Not you.
Yeah, I'll do an overview because I really need to go for a piss. So I'm down for wrapping this up ASAP.
ASOP. Wow. Oh boy.
Wow.
So I don't know what this means in terms of which the most healthy one is, as it actually. Because we know that the M1000 is the problem child, obviously.
Yeah.
But basically, it's the GK2 and the Drac. Which one is better or worse? I don't think that is a thing. I think they're
both
pretty close to
very solid.
equal. Yeah.
I think Drac may have stronger bursts of strength, but ultimately the GK is more sustained.
I think the GK2 is more consistent, but only because what makes the Drac so good is how many different ways of using it there are. But but the result, well, the source of that is that the base Drac isn't that impressive. But the thing is, you're not supposed to use base Drac really. Everything you do with it is at least a cut above. Like even thermal source feedback, which is mostly base Drac, still has something tied to it that rates it above base Drac. Which is a good way of putting it. They are arguably equally healthy, but for different reasons. Which is great. That's actually what you want. That in an ideal world, every set of weapons would all be equally healthy, but all for a different reason as well. But obviously, that is crazy hard to do. It will always be an outlier, but something's got to change. Something's got to change. But until it does, that's been us, hasn't it? Thanks for the input, Tom, on Drac. Thanks for the.
He's gone. If you didn't notice,
I didn't actually. No, I'm not looking at. I'm not looking at Discord, so wouldn't notice.
He left about as soon as we went into the Drac.
Yeah. The cool guy. But yeah, we'll be back at you again with this at the same time next week for the Scout secondary weapons, which that's gonna be a bit weird. It's gonna be. Actually, I know it sounds like a very generic line, so it's gonna be weird next week. It's gonna be weirder than this one. Trust me. It really is. All right. If you enjoyed, please make sure to lick the subscribe button.
It's a bit weird.
Yeah. I think we should mention. No, that's not. Right. The fact that you could become a member. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye. Toodaloo. Bye. Take care. See you next time. See you later, alligator. In a wild crocodile.